You want to take your gardening to the next level? Companion planting might just be the answer. But it's the middle of February in Michigan, so let's take this inside. Alright, now by picking plants that work well together, you can drastically improve your garden's productivity and overall health. But where do you start? Well, that's where the rule of 3 comes in. By considering just 3 key factors, you can easily create a winning combination of companion plants. In this video, we're going to show you how to use the rule of 3 to make companion planting simple and effective. So let's get started. Alright, now the first factor that I like to consider is the plant's sun, shade, and water needs. And I also look at the plant's height at this time as well. This means that you want to choose plants that have similar or complementing shade or sun and water requirements. For example, if you have a plant that needs full sun, you wouldn't want to put it next to a plant that needs partial shade. Ultimately, one of them is going to suffer and not thrive. By choosing plants with similar light and water needs, you're ultimately setting them both up for success. Alright, now the second factor I like to consider is how do they benefit each other. For example, some plants will have deep roots that'll help break up hard compacted soils. Other plants will have shallow roots that can help prevent erosion. Some plants will attract beneficial insects that'll kind of control pests, while other plants you can actually repel pests. Another great method is I'll use plants that will create shade for more delicate plants. I use that one a lot. So by pairing plants that complement each other, you create a healthier, more productive garden. I think one of the very best examples of this is actually the 3 sisters method the Native Americans used to use. They would plant corn, beans, and squash. The corn would act as a trellis for the pole beans to grow up. The beans would provide nitrogen for the corn and the squash could grow down low and act as a weed suppressant. It worked phenomenal and they all benefited off each other. Alright, now the third factor I like to look at is, does it improve the soil? I try to think of it in terms of weed control, soil structure, and nutrients. Now some plants, such as your legumes, your beans, and your peas, they actually have nitrogen-fixing bacteria on their roots, so they can definitely enrich your soil with nitrogen. Other plants have deep tap roots, which can help break up compacted soil and improve your drainage. Now by choosing plants that improve the soil, you're creating a much healthier environment for all your plants in the garden. Now of course, companion planting can have many additional benefits. You can definitely maximize space by growing vertically. You can really increase production by utilizing all the space in your garden beds. And it'll even make it look a little more beautiful with all the different colors and textures. Now I'm going to give you a list of 5 groupings of companion plants that we use out in our garden every year, and you can use in yours this year to make it a little more simple. But before I do me a favor, if you're getting some value out of this video, just hit the like button. That'll help the algorithms push this out to more people to see it. Now if you haven't noticed a trend here, this is the rule of 3. So I'm going to give you 5 groupings of 3 plants that we implement out in our garden every year, and you can put into yours this year to make everything nice and simple. So the first one I'm going to talk about is the 3 sisters, and that's the corns, bean, and the squash. Now we already went over the benefits, so I'm not going to do it again, but it is probably the best example of how the companion plants can benefit one another. Now the second grouping on the list would be basil, tomato, and marigolds. While the basil and the marigolds are known to repel pests, the tomatoes definitely benefit from their companionship. The marigolds also attract ladybugs, which will eat the aphids. Alright, now the third one on the list is cucumbers, radishes, and dill. Now the cucumbers and radishes are a great companion because they don't compete for space or nutrients, while dill will attract beneficial insects like wasps and lacewings, which will eat the cucumber beetles. Now number 4 on the list would be carrots, onions, and chives. While onions and chives are known to repel carrot flies, while carrots have a good root system to break up the soil for the onions and the chives. Then the 5th one on the list is peppers, parsley, and eggplant, because the parsley will attract hoverflies, which will eat the aphids, which are a common pest to the peppers and the eggplants. Now these are just a few examples of groupings of companion plants that we know work because we use them out in our garden. So I'm going to throw them back up on the screen for a second so you can take a snapshot but please experiment out in your garden. Let me know what works for you. Now hopefully you can implement the rule of 3 in your garden when you're thinking about companion planting to make life a little more simple for you. And if you want a few more examples, go ahead and check out this video right here. We'll see you over there, or we'll see you on the next one.